On June 1st, it will be 1 year since Borussia lost the Champions League final to Real Madrid, and 2 years since they gave away the Bundesliga title to Bayern on the final match day, despite finishing with the same number of points. Today, BVB is going through its worst season in a decade. They're sitting in 8th place in the table, and everything suggests they won't be playing in the Champions League next year. For anyone close to the Dortmund team, this shouldn't come as a big surprise, because last season mostly just swept a huge pile of problems under the rug. That's confirmed by the coach's dismissal. It's rare for a club like the Black and Yellows to fire a manager after a historic run, like reaching the Champions League final. During a January match against Werder Bremen, fans held up a banner that read, "Deal with the obvious problem. The problem is not on the bench." And they were right. This isn't just a short-term crisis. It's a deeper, structural one. Borussia, once praised for smart management, has recently become a shadow of its former self. Behind the scenes, it's been chaos. Most people pulling in different directions, and key figures locked in a real power struggle. As you can see, things in Dortmund are colorful, to say the least. The rest of the pack has pulled ahead, and Borussia, once the clear number 2, now has to fight just to keep up. This story starts with 2 key figures. 2 people who should have worked together, but ended up in a battle for control. We're talking about sporting director Sebastian Kehl and Sven Mislintat. Kehl is a former Dortmund captain. Mislintat? He has deep backroom experience. He worked at Borussia from 2006 to 2017 as a scout, and with great success. He earned the nickname Diamond Eye. Thanks to him, players like Aubameyang, Dembele, and Kagawa joined the club. He was brought in to support Kehl with transfers. But here's the issue. In every previous club, Mislintat had authority. And he didn't like the idea of answering to someone new in the business. He's never been easy to work with. He's opinionated and outspoken. The club knew this, but they still hoped that he and Kehl could make it work. That didn't happen. Things got so bad behind closed doors that reports say they weren't even speaking to each other. Kehl couldn't do his job properly, and Mislintat kept undermining his authority, which clearly affected Borussia's transfer decisions. In the end, one of them had to go, and it was Mislintat. Mostly because of his attitude, which had also created problems at Arsenal and Ajax, where many fans still don't remember him fondly. But blaming this one conflict would be too easy. This is just the beginning. In 2018, Sammer was brought in as an advisor to the BVB leadership. That could have worked, except he was also a TV pundit at the same time. To be fair, he's objective, but this dual role hurt the club. After a match against Bologna, he said, "The team isn't in shape, physically or mentally. Let's be honest, there are no foundations. They can't defend, they can't attack, there's no structure. Everything's falling apart." At the time, he wasn't speaking for the club officially. His tone was even a little mocking. But the thing is, he wasn't wrong. And because he was on the inside, his words highlighted just how obvious the problems were. Still, as someone helping to lead the team, he probably shouldn't have been making those comments publicly. All of this comes down to one thing: a massive shift in staff after many years of stability. During their most successful period, Borussia thrived on a strong, united core. Michael Zorc was sporting director for 17 years, until 2022. Hans-Joachim Watzke, the CEO, led the club for over 20 years. Under their leadership, things worked. There was a clear plan, a strong philosophy, and Borussia rarely strayed from it. But no one can lead forever. Recently, Watzke has been stepping back from the club. The plan is for him to become club president next year, a more symbolic than executive role. And suddenly, 2 decades of leadership ended, and the club collapsed like a house of cards. Just one level below Watzke in the club's hierarchy is Lars Ricken, and today, he holds the second most important voice at Borussia. He was promoted from head of the youth department to sporting director, and he already has a lot of autonomy. Fact, he's being groomed to become the club's future leader. For example, the decision to fire Nuri Sahin reportedly happened without Watzke's knowledge, even though Watzke is technically his superior. When Ricken took over, his new strategy clashed with Kehl's vision. Kehl, once seen as the club's future, was sidelined, leaving him reportedly shocked. The result? A major conflict of football philosophies that shook Borussia's direction. And honestly, that's not surprising. Kehl has been in charge since 2022. Ricken only gained power in 2024. They were bound to see things differently. Now, assuming Ricken is on his way to taking over completely, he's already been putting his vision into motion. So, let's compare. Ricken made his intentions crystal clear. He said Borussia needs to get back to its identity, buying young, hungry players with high market potential, or promoting them directly from the academy. At the same time, he stressed balance. You still need experienced players with leadership and mentality, guys that young players can learn from and lean on. But here's the problem. I looked at the 11 Dortmund players with the most minutes this season, and only 2 of them are under 25. Even if some are close to that age, most are pushing 30. Sure, the club tried refreshing the squad this season, but many of those younger players just didn't bring the quality needed. And because of that, Borussia is no longer the top destination for young stars. Clubs like RB Leipzig are doing a much better job developing talent right now. This aging squad, that's partly on Sebastian Kehl. He wanted to steer away from Borussia's old model. Instead of young talents who leave quickly, he preferred signing experienced players who could deliver right away and actually stay with the club longer. It was supposed to be a balance. Young players would be developed and sold later, while the experienced core kept the team stable. And on paper, that makes sense, but in practice, the execution fell flat. Borussia started signing players just because they looked good last season, not because they actually fit the team, and that's led to an unbalanced squad. Right now, the team lacks leaders. You could already see the cracks last season. But now, especially after the departures of Hummels and Royce, it's painfully clear. Some players just don't seem motivated to fight for the shirt. They look more like a group of individuals than a real team, and it shows every time they step on the pitch. To make things worse, there's now a messy blend of 2 clashing ideas: Kehl's short-term solution and Ricken's long-term, old-school vision. It seems Ricken, watching the new direction fail, decided to pull the club back toward its roots. And the idea that the coach wasn't the real issue, that's confirmed by Niko Kovac. He replaced Sahin as head coach on January 22nd. He's experienced, but he's getting the same results as Sahin, and struggling just as much to motivate the players. Last month, during a 30-minute rant in front of club executives, he even asked the players if they weren't ashamed of themselves. Some were reportedly fined. Borussia's biggest issue is over-reliance on their own people, both on the pitch and behind the scenes. Even with better options available, they keep experimenting without finding their Zidane or Klopp. Internal hires dominate key roles, stifling fresh ideas and critical change. This identity, once a strength, has become a weakness due to lack of balance. Ironically, after criticism for inexperience last year, they hired an even less experienced coach. Without a major reset, BVB risks becoming a mid-table club long-term. Failure to qualify for Europe could force player sales, and right now, there's no sign of optimism. Thanks for watching till the end. If you enjoyed the video, like it and subscribe to Football 90. See you next time.